Many people do come here for the great weather. And yes, we're getting awesome weather right now. It's been in the 80s and on the edge of 90, but no humidity and a nice breeze. So it's been so comfortable. This is why people come for spring break. And I want to talk a little bit today about the lifestyle when it's not the vacation, the real Florida, the part that you're going to get into so that you can decide for real. We're getting after that next. Hey everybody, my name is Craig Cunha. I'm a real estate agent here in Southwest Florida, and if you're looking for a channel to tell you a little bit more about what it's like to live, play, eat, sleep, and buy real estate on the Gulf Coast, this is the channel for you. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the little bell, make sure you're notified every time, and do like all the other people are doing right now, register for the MLS access so you can start looking at homes right through our MLS. Go to ournextfloridahome.com to get started. Otherwise, if you've got a question that you need an answer to, you've got to call, text, or email because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast. All right, so if you've been here before, you know that I have a system, and then what I normally do at this point is start talking about the market, tell you what's going on, the challenges, the ups, the downs, what's pricing doing, all that kind of stuff. Well, I don't want the folks who may not stick around for the whole time to get hung up on all the data and market stuff because that's talked about everywhere. So today we're going to push that to the back half of the video, and we're going to talk about the real living situation stuff here in Florida, some of the stuff that you may have heard, may not have heard, but we're going to get moving forward on that now. All right, so if you haven't heard, I've talked about the Punta Gorda Airport here recently in other videos, and the one thing that it's become to the Cape Coral and Fort Myers market is very, very accessible. A lot of people are going out of flights there, and it's been convenient so far. Allegiant is the airline that runs out of Punta Gorda, and it was just announced this week they're canceling 20 flights in May. 20 flights to Raleigh, North Carolina in particular. And they're stating that it's because they can't get staffing for these flights. So anybody that's purchased those tickets already, they're out of luck. They have to find another way. Just another example of how shortages affect us in ways we don't even think about, and it can be very isolated because here we are, we just started April. We're talking about May. So somehow they're going to have staff for the entire month of April, but not May. In any case, be prepared. If you're going to North Carolina from Florida or you're coming from Raleigh down here, that's not the way you're going to be doing it. We've had some really good weather, as I mentioned a moment ago, but what that really good weather does for us here in Florida this time of year is it gives us burn bans. That means you've got to stop doing all those extras if you like a nice fire at night because it's that wonderful wood burning smell and just that warmth from the flicker. You're not doing it this time of year. Due to the fact that we have high temperatures during the day, in the 80s and 90s sometimes, with low humidity. On top of that, high winds and no rain. We are so far behind when it comes to precipitation. I think we're almost 3 inches now. That's a lot. So we're going to be in a burn ban for a period of time now, and these fires are not always small. There was a fire that basically took down a building up in Punta Gorda in Emerald Point. I sold a condo up there to a client. Thank God he's not affected by this, but a lot of other people are. I think there was 8 units involved in this. So just another example of one of the things you may not think about if you've never lived in Florida. Another thing you may not have experienced because AC is such a big part of our life here, a lot of people use what we call a mini split. This mini split is basically an AC unit that is designed to work in smaller spaces. Many people will use it in a garage because if you didn't know this, air conditioning systems cannot have a vent into the garage because of car exhaust and fumes from paint and all the other stuff that's stored in the garage. So you have to find another way to cool it if you're going to be working out there. The example is a mini split. You grab one of these, you cool the area the way you want to. I would highly advise making sure your garage door is insulated or can be insulated to keep this as efficient as possible. Also, if you are somebody that likes colder temperatures in one room, say your master bedroom, and you do not want to have to run the entire house at 65, then go ahead and get a mini split. Set it wherever you want. It'll take care of that one room alone and run independently of the whole house system. This next one's crazy, and I know exactly what's going on with this. We ride bicycles around here a lot. And there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can do it on the sidewalks. You can do it on the bike paths. You can do it on the strip on the side of the road. It's supposed to be a bicycle law that says 3 feet. You have to stay 3 feet away from these people. But apparently that's not working. There's been at least 3 accidents this week alone with either bicyclists or pedestrians. And it's becoming more and more common. So if you're somebody that likes to get around either by walking or by bicycling, you have to be extra diligent. Like I said, we do this a lot here. Many of the areas we go to, we pick bicycle paths because it does keep us away from this. But there are some instances, and I've been on this intersection of Gladiolus and US 41 previously. They have this lane that turns right to go north, and the bicycle path goes right between the lanes to go straight and the lanes to turn right. And there have been cars that want to race ahead of you to get over instead of waiting to go behind you. That's the kind of crazy stuff that goes on here. I also caught this situation the other day with these people from out of state. Both of the cars that started ahead of the orange car here, they're out of state plates. And as you can see, the one gentleman wants to go a little faster and get by everybody. So just as he makes his merge to get out of this and go around the white truck, what's the white truck do? Cuts in front of him. This is the kind of stuff that causes road rage. This is the kind of stuff that is labeled inattention. I mean, seriously, you're going to wait till the guy's ready to pass you, then you're going to move over? These are the reasons behind all the frustration of driving here in this area. And whether it is truly because you're that bad of a driver or you just don't pay attention, it doesn't matter. There's too much of this on the road. And if you don't want to be a statistic, we got to watch this better. That same example of the driving is the same reason why we're seeing more and more and more comments about northerners, about snowbirds, about stay the hell away. We don't want you here. I don't feel that way, obviously. I temper that. I can stay away from these things for the most part if I choose to. I've tried to take a different mindset when I'm driving and understand that many people don't have the same schedule I do. And maybe they do want to dawdle around and I don't know, stare off in space. The point is that you have to either change what you're doing or change when you're doing it. This isn't going away. It's only going to get worse. In fact, they're talking about expanding our bridges now to be able to take on all the extra traffic coming. They were saying there's something like 15 to 20,000 people a year coming in. I think it's going to be much higher than that. But they're projecting upwards to later in the years, 1 million people in this area that are going to be traveling around. These bridges currently handle 50,000 cars in a day. That's a lot of traffic going across there. We do need a way to make it move better. But in the meantime, these traffic incidences and even accidents are going to end up happening if you're impatient and aren't giving it the time it needs. Now, you heard me just mention about these bridge expansions. Something else you need to know. When they make a plan, it doesn't mean it's going to happen right away. Example, bridge expansion. The new one that just came out just this week, it says they're putting this plan together. There was a plan 2 years ago in 2020 about expanding bridges. So that's 2 years of discussion apparently to get to now a new plan to do this. That's one example. The 7 Islands, we've heard about this for years. The Bimini Basin expansion, we've heard about this. The Yacht Club, delayed once again, whether it's permits or all the complaining about it. Then, you've got the Chiquita Lock. Everybody's been waiting for that thing to be yanked out for years, but it's still there. So all of this is talk until it starts happening. So as exciting as these things are, like we did end up getting Joe's Farm Market up here, that's awesome. And there's some other plans. I told you about the Super Walmart that's supposed to come out on the west side. Once it starts, that would be awesome. But again, bated breath until these things happen. We're seeing a lot of construction, a lot of apartment buildings, some medical facilities, that kind of stuff coming in. But until you see the project starting, just wait, hold on, because it could be a while longer. Now, if you're a boater, which a lot of people that come to Cape Coral are, pay attention to where you're getting your access on the water. I'm finding now, I told you I got a boat last year. I keep it up at the Burnstone Marina, which is right on the Charlotte Harbor. The Charlotte Harbor is so freaking big that the wind works the same way with this body of water as it does out in the Gulf. The chop is sometimes excessive on a day that you can go down the river and, play around down there by Sanibel and Captiva, because with the land around it, it's blocking this wind, makes it less choppy, makes it easy to navigate. So if you're looking at getting a golf access property, find out where it comes out and what you'll have bordering it to see if you'll still be able to use this even in windy conditions. Or if you're going to be like me and coming out into a larger body of water and you're going to be faced with this every time. Just another challenge if you're going to be doing the boating in our area here. Another challenge is allergies. Yeah, we're in a whole nother season of those. And I think the other day this was reported where the tree pollen was rather high. Thankfully, it hasn't been killing me the way it had previously. But I will say that this could definitely be a problem for you. I didn't even know I had allergies. I was down here in Florida for 10 or 15 years before they started. At first, I thought I was just sick. After repetitive times of going to the doctor, I realized that it's not this, because whatever antibiotics they give you, it's not doing anything. So eventually found out that it was the allergies. You could be dealing with them. Some people say their allergies get better here. So keep an eye on that. If you start to feel sick a lot, all the time, kind of all in your head, it's probably allergies. Not a lot you can do. There are some pills for it, some sprays for it. The spray works for me. Whatever works for you, figure it out, because it's going to come every year without fail. Now, we have a wildlife sanctuary here, which is really cool. It's called Crow, and it's out on Sanibel Island. They not only take in animals that have been injured or just left behind. My neighbor actually had a bird fall out of the tree, actually a couple of them. She took care of them for a few weeks and finally took them to Crow to finish the process. You can go on their website and sponsor these animals. There's a couple owls that were taken in, and they are open for sponsorship. And they also have educational programs. You can give donations to Crow to help them with the support of these programs and of these animals. But if you want to know more about it, you'll see the contact info here on this image that'll give you the phone number and email so that you can find out more about this wildlife sanctuary and how you may be able to either take part or just experience it for yourself. Now, we have a service here. Not sure, I haven't really looked at where it goes around the country, but it's become really popular for our animal lovers. Tons of dogs down here. A lot of businesses welcome them, some don't. But there's a service called rover.com, and this is basically a dog babysitting service. And they'll do it with a 30-minute pop-in where they basically charge you about $1 a minute to do it. The rates are different for all of the people doing it, so it depends on their skill level, the time in the business, how many other animals they take on, and what their schedule looks like. But if you find somebody that you like that's rated well, meet up with them first, obviously, see who's going to be taking care of your pet. You can also do overnight stays with them, and it can be either at your place or at their place. So all those things are open to you. It sounds like the rates are pretty darn fair when it really gets broken down. And you know what? If you can keep your furry family friend at home or in somebody else's home instead of a kennel, it'd be a heck of a lot better for everyone. So I talked about why you would come to Florida. One of the things that we see all the time is vacation and spring break. Well, I just wanted to post this. I saw a little bit of a meme out there the other day, basically saying that if you look like this, you may look like a tourist. And I'm going to tack on there, especially if you're wearing any kind of apparel that says, I love Florida, or I love Fort Myers Beach, whatever it may be. That definitely puts the stamp on you that you may be a tourist. All right, so we're going to jump into some market stuff real quick. And this is where I'm going to talk not only about some of the processes, but also what the numbers are telling us right now. So when it comes to finding a home in the area, yes, it's very challenging. Some people just don't know where to start. I talked to Keith yesterday, and he's kind of at the very beginning parts of the process. He knows he wants to be here. He hasn't fully jumped in yet with both feet, but it sounds like he wants to in the next few months. I can start sending him some information about homes in the area, but he's probably too far out to even get to that. This market changes so fast that whatever he's going to see today, he's not seeing in 6 months. And you want to have a realistic goal. If you have a house to sell somewhere else, you want to get that done first, because home to sell contingencies just aren't taken here. You might have rare occasions if the deal on your side is really solid that somebody could overlook that, but most agents won't take the risk of that deal falling out and having the deal here fall out. But if you're somebody that's saying, okay, well, if it's that busy and that challenging and that much of bidding wars and all that kind of stuff, how can I compete? What can I do to get the leg up, especially if I can't be there? What steps can I take? Well, obviously you can do a video with your agent. They can walk around, show you the particulars. We talked about that last week with Alex and Terry. It can work to some extent. But one of the things that drive a lot of people away, even if the home is absolutely gorgeous, is the neighborhood. How do you do your neighborhood homework if you can't really see it? So the best that I can tell you, and what I've tried to recommend to some of my clients to do, is use the aerial map, number one. You can see a lot of what's going on if maybe neighbors are storing boats and cars and stuff behind their fences, because you can still have that stuff if it's hidden behind a fence. But find out what the neighbors are doing with their space, how it looks. Then take the address of the property, put it in Google Earth, and get the street view. And yes, if you haven't used this before, you can travel up and down the road and spin 360 just to see exactly how this works. And you'll be able to find out a little bit more about what that neighborhood looks like and how it may feel to you. Do the aerial search, find out, are there any large commercial buildings nearby? Is there anything that's going to draw a lot of traffic that you don't want around you nearby? That's the best I can tell you about how to do your research if you can't actually be here to drive. But the number one thing you should be doing as soon as you know you're coming is drive the area. Check out those areas. Do it firsthand. Know exactly what you're jumping into. Now, mortgage lenders, a lot of people don't even know where to start here. They try to stay with the bank that they've known for all the years where they come from. Like, I'm from Pennsylvania. I don't want to use a bank from Pennsylvania because they don't know the market here. Even if they have a license to do this in Florida, it's not the same as having a local lender. It's also not the same as having somebody that you know can get the deal done and closed on time. The last thing you want is to lock a rate on a property and then have the loan not get done on time because that particular lender didn't do the steps properly, or maybe missed something because we're not used to doing as many transactions in the area as the guys that we have here or the ladies that we have here. So you want to have somebody that's going to protect that rate lock, let you know when you're getting close to your deadline, because if you can't get it closed within your rate lock, you're either going to have to extend and spend more money and potentially lose the house, because there is nothing saying that that seller has to extend the time to let you get your loan. On top of that, if you don't get that canceled before your lock is up, you could lose your escrow as well. Now, speaking of locking rates, experts right now are saying, hey man, lock your rates. We don't know how much they're going to go up, when they're going to go up. We have an idea, but they do keep escalating. They've continued to climb since the beginning of the year, and they're projecting that it's going to keep doing this. So if you're within your 30-day window and you can lock that rate and you know it'll get done within those 30 days, go ahead and get it locked up. Check with your lender, make sure that's what you should be doing. But that's one way to protect yourself from these rising rates, is get the process going. Get yourself towards the end goal and get the timelines down that are going to allow you to make that decision and get that locked in now before it goes up any higher. Now, we keep hearing about bubbles and the market and how it's going to change. All I can tell you is, out of the data that I see, we are literally seeing 3 times as many properties leaving the market as coming on. I don't know what to tell you. I understand that there's a lot of reports out there. There's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff. There's a lot of experts giving their opinions. I can only show you what I see firsthand. And the good properties, they leave instantly. We put an offer in for Pam and Larry just the other day, and it was a very highly regarded golf course community. In here, there's nothing even on the market aside from this one property. And there's hundreds of properties in there of all types. This happened to be a condo. Well, we put the offer in, we put it over ask, we put an escalation clause in there, we're paying cash, we're closing in 2 weeks, we're doing a short inspection time, all these things on the day it came out, and we're still waiting to hear. Because they want to make sure they get all the showings done to see if there's any other offers that will help push the price up more. That's the market we're in for the good properties. And I don't see that changing. And everyone I'm talking to, they're seeing the same thing. So all markets are not going to fall under this umbrella of the discussions of bubbles and falling out and we have more homes than we need. There's some reports out there saying that there's enough homes throughout the U.S. right now, because everybody's living in a home of some sort right now, correct? For the most part. So they're saying that due to this, why are we having such a shortage? And they think we're going to end up in an overbuild situation because these builders are really ramping things up, trying to build all these extra places, that if all the people have a place to live right now, are we overbuilding? I mean, it's something to think about. I haven't seen signs of it here yet, but I will say that there are a lot of investment properties. That's why Florida is now getting tagged with and I did this report for Cape Coral and Fort Myers to get the median price so far this year of a single family home. And what I found is that for these two cities, you have a $400,000 in January, a $410 median price in February, and a $436 in March. See that jump? That's the median price. So we're seeing it's continuing to escalate, and everybody knows, they hear it all the time. Prices going up, prices going up. Whether you're new construction or whether you're resale, prices are going up. So are rates. So where does that break? We don't know. We have to wait to see that come for sure. But what I can tell you is I took an average of $425 as the amount of the purchase, and I did a little bit of number running on this, and I came up with about a $1,600 payment. And if you take about $400 a month for taxes and another $400 for insurances, yes, they could be slightly off those numbers, you're sitting right around $2,400 a month. Well, you know the funny thing? I looked up rentals of single-family homes on an annual basis, which there's not a lot of them. This has been going up steadily as well, and that number shakes out right around $2,400 as well. So if you have the choice between owning something that won't change its rate, something that's locked in for as long as you want to be in it, if it's affordable now, good chance it's affordable later, versus rent, which it could be increased on you. You could have the property sold out from under you, and now you have to make a choice. Is your lease going to allow you to stay in it to the end of your term, or do you have 30 to 60 days before you have to get out? Be careful. Make sure you look at your lease. Get your plan in place in the event something like that would happen. Either way, when you get to the end of that lease term, most likely you're going to see an increase. And we've been hearing increases of anywhere from $300 to $600 a month being tacked on somebody's lease if they're going to stay in the property. If you get a mortgage, that won't happen. So make your decision. And again, if you're going to be here for a very short time and you know that, you really don't have a choice. But if this is a plan that you're making to get here and you're ready to commit to it, get the mortgage. Get it locked in while you can before the rates go higher, the prices go higher, whatever it is. Otherwise, you could be stuck renting and dealing with that very situation over and over. All right, so that's a little bit more about living in Florida. If you have other questions that you want answered, check out one of these other videos. And if you've got a specific question for me, you've got to call, text, or email because I've got your back when moving to the Gulf Coast.